But you touch on two things, right? The things that I know for certain for me that were never negotiable. The one is a conversation around Black excellence, right? And the other is the caliber of human beings you choose to work with. So talk to me about that, because I mean, since your time, there have been so many Black startups. I haven't experienced, and I may be biased, but I haven't experienced a consistent hitting the mark on this thing called Black excellence, or a conversation around what is the caliber of partnership that allows for a startup to become a successful business. Like, how did you choose? How do you think you guys got it right?
You know, the level of maturity with which we approached this thing surprised me. I mean, I was still very young, you know, and maybe on the quiet, I also knew that if this thing didn't work out, I was still flavor of the month in the corporate world, you know.
Okay.
But we were different people, as in our skills were different. Mm-hmm. We did not all of us know the same thing. Mm-hmm. We needed each other for the business to succeed. And we also did not say, we are all equal partners, as in one of us, we can't have a boss. That was a very important thing, that one of us must be the boss. And in this case, it was Peter Wundler. And this one will run this department, this one will run that department. And we also understood that we needed to pull for each other. Mm-hmm. Also, it was easy for us to attract good people because of who we are. I mean, we see through the BS very, very quickly, as you know. Mm-hmm. And we got rid of the BS very, very quickly, as you know. So, but the values aligned.
Okay.
The values aligned. None of us was a thief, or had twisted morals or values, like, you know. So, you know, none of us would ever be called into some commission if ever there was a commission. We were just straight as far as that is concerned. Mm-hmm. And if you tried it, we made you toe the line very quickly. I'm talking about clients who did try, you know? But we told you very quickly, we don't play that game. We are in the advertising game to make you look good, to make you sell more, and to make you famous. But not to do other things that you didn't tell us when you appointed us. And that was a very, very, very good thing, that we picked each other without knowing that we shared the same values. Awesome. And this excellence was, we almost felt like we were being watched. Mm-hmm. You know, failure is not an option, type of thing. People are watching. Yes. So, and you know, I mean, and then we looked, you know, when we looked for the good people that we ultimately ended up with, we did make some bad kind of decisions, employing some people that, well, didn't last long, because, you know, soon we found out. Yes. However, we ended up finding this excellence and being surrounded by this excellence, these young people working with us who just enjoyed themselves, and suddenly we had this big building in Sunning Hill, and one day I got asked by the Financial Mail, how many Black people are there, how many white people are there, how many women are there? And I said, I actually don't know, but I think there's more women than there are men, which is good for the Christmas party. Yes. That was my answer. That was my stock answer. But at some point, we never knew whether we were 50-50 Black or white, because it suddenly became a South African agency. You only cracked it there, though, if you knew what to do. You had to be good, understand that which what our dream was, and minimum requirement was the excellence, and I guess we stuck with that, and the values. I mean, you will know of some guy that came to work with us and he started making some claims for entertainment he would not have, and we would not have done or executed. Let's call this entertainment executed with clients, and then you come and make a claim. And I made sure that that person was out in a flash, because it starts with small things like that. And then grows into other things. So yeah.
But I think the danger though is you are this, because you, and I try and correct people oftentimes. I go, no, but Happy's the guy one of the people who started. I'm like, yes, and then he did a million other things, right? So the question is, if Matthew McConaughey is the Hollywood actor who goes, all right, and he's aware that whilst all right means that's how people know him in culture, it also can be the only thing they know about him, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, HerdBuoys is your all right, but that's not the only thing you have done with your life, because I know for a fact that the journey that may have started there and the values that came from there are the things that you took into all your other roles since HerdBuoys, right? Mm-hmm. So the question I ask you then is, how do you then have the conversation about the rest of your professional portfolio life, right? Because then you go and you fix a red bank and you go and you tell people how to play sports on time on television, because these are the things that you have done. And we don't have these conversations, which for me is a worry, because then it means the world only sees the rearview mirror, whereas this windshield was all these other magical things that came as a follow-up.
Yeah. Look, when I tell people that I used to sell margarine, and that was my first job at Unilever.
Yeah.
And being a salesman is probably the best way to learn marketing, because you get to see how people make decisions to purchase one brand as opposed to another. Mm. And through merchandising, you learn. When I was a sales rep, you get given a merchandise who does merchandising for you at the Pick and Pay, at the OK Bazaars and Checkers. You must get there before you get there. But when he doesn't get there before you, for some reason, he's got a hangover, he didn't pitch, they would give you these boxes of margarine by the store manager.
Yes.
Because there's no margarine on the shelves. And you have to open the box, and they give you this gun that we used to put the price on the thing.
Yeah.
And I was young, and I worked not far from the university, so the young ladies were there, you know what I mean? And they would see me at the nightclub on the weekend, and then on Monday they see me packing margarine at the Checkers or a Spa, and I guess they would look and say, "Is that what he does?" Don't know that I'm filling in for this merchandise. And that I really have a proper job. I drive a car,
that type another business card.
But packing those boxes and packing that margarine on the floor gives you access to the lady or the gentleman that's going to come and buy the margarine, or buy the opposition's margarine, and you say, but why are you buying that one and not this one? And you get consumer insights. And if you really care, you walk around and ask them, why are they buying this toothpaste and not that toothpaste? And you begin to learn about consumer behavior. And so that's what selling did for me when I was at Unilever. And I've also worked with computers. I worked for IBM, and when IBM was the #1 computer company in the world. You know, I was in the communications department, which included marketing. But at the time, I was a writer. A lot of people don't know that I was trained as a writer. They think I just write they think I speak as I write, or I write as I speak. But at some point, I was actually trained as a writer, which is why I love writing even to this day.
Which is why you fix my punctuation.
I've fixed a lot of your punctuations, and I've also taught you that from 1 up to 9, you write in
the words,
as in the words. From 10 onwards,
the figure.
You write the numbers. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and then of course, you know, I've worked for Tiger Brands. I worked, yeah, so I've worked for these big companies, and I worked for Ogilvy, and at university I was a motor mechanic fixing VWs, you know. Well, that's what my father taught me. I don't know if I can fix cars today, because I think when you open the engine, you can't even see what the engine is. In today's cars, they are so covered. Yeah, and you know, my marketing world is, people don't know that I was the marketing director at Vodacom.
There we go.
And yeah,
but you have to tell
the
weekend
during the Yebo era.
Happy?
You pixelated there in here.
You have to tell the Vodacom campaign, the price sensitive one. What was it? The weekend every day. What was it? There's a campaign.
It was no. You're talking about the kind of packages that were there. Yes. There was a package called something every day, weekend every day.
Yes, or something.
But it was during but I worked there when we were doing those campaigns for that ended with Yebo, Goko.
And that got me into trouble. Do you remember? The Yebo, that got me into trouble, because what do you mean you don't remember? You don't remember at my wedding when the priest says, "Do you, Sizakele, take this man to be your wedding house?" I'm like, Yebo, Goko. No. I can't record this. Your fault.
I know. And yeah, so I think the best part of my working career, would you believe? Of course, HerdBuoys is special because, you know, that was our own business, and I really enjoyed running it, you know, and working with people like you guys. I think, you know, I just enjoyed being the boss in that environment, as in that successful environment at HerdBuoys, you know. But the best part of my working career was at the Red Bank.
Okay.
First, I didn't want that job. I refused it and refused it and refused it until, you know, I took that job because I needed money, the sign-on fee, in order for me to complete my house. So I was just going to be there for 2 years, and that was done.
Yes.
And almost 7 years later, I was still there. But it was the best part of my career because I worked with a big brand that was battling from a branding point of view in terms of, I guess, occupying its rightful position in the marketplace. And I would like to believe that together with my team, and I really believe that during that period, the period between 2008 and 2012, we probably had the best marketing team in the country. The people I worked with, they knew what they were doing. You know, that bank, during my spell there, we took it from number 3 to number 1 and stayed there for 6 years in a row. It was the coolest bank, the number 1 banking brand, and we were winning sponsorship awards. We were having fun. And it is the same bank where I did the sponsorship for Bafana Bafana.
Yes.
And I mention this because 2010 happened in our country.
Yes.
And we were part of 2010 through Bafana Bafana. And boy, what an amazing, amazing marketing experience. Having to work with big brands, work with the world.
Yes.
And, one of the things we wanted to do, and I certainly wanted to do this, was to make sure that the foreigners who came into our country thought we were the only, if not the biggest bank. Yes. And so what we did, Gautrain was launched in 2010.
Yes.
We took all the train stations that Gautrain was on. We painted the airports red. So when they arrived, all they could see was ABSA. And remember, we were ABSA, member of the Barclays group.
Yes.
So if you're a foreigner, you see ABSA and Barclays, where are you likely to go? You're likely to go to this big bank that I see everywhere. I jumped off the aeroplane, and there was this this red ABSA bank member of the Barclays group. I got into train, and inside the train there was that at the train station. It was just this bank. Wherever you went, we were there. And then when you saw the Bafana Bafana bus that carried the players, it has this bank's name. I promise you, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever been involved with. Painting South Africa red. And yet we were not the main sponsors. The other bank was the main sponsor. But I think you would have found it very difficult in 2010 not to see us. The only way not to see us was for you to close your eyes. I promise you. And it came as no surprise there that we number one banking brand. And then they asked children, which is the coolest bank in the country. And they said, it's us. Because we were behaving cool, and look, I worked with a really, really talented team of people, and we got the most out of them, and we gave the bank its rightful place in town. So, yeah, and of course, everybody wants a change, and when I got approached to go to SuperSport as the CEO, there's no way I was going to say no. No way. No way.
Why could you have not said no?
I love sport, right? I really do love sport. Now, to be asked to go and be the CEO of the biggest purveyors of sport, in my view, in the world. I mean, I've traveled the world. I've turned on the television everywhere. I've not seen the amount of sport that you saw and you still see on SuperSport. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for me to go and run that company. And yeah, it's just, I'm sure I would have been there still had I not, I don't know, had I not fallen sick. As you know, I had that unfortunate incident, and it ended my working career, so to speak. That was the last time I actually went to work for somebody else.
Now you're just a self boss now. So you're just bossing people around.
Bossing people and bossing myself around. I'm running. People don't know that I've done comrades,
But do you also lose toenails?
No, I don't.
So who loses toenails with those comrades? Because
those people got the wrong genes, wrong parents, and that kind of stuff. No, I don't lose my toenails. I run. I still run. But I ran comrades for a reason. I always need to have something that makes me push myself.
That challenges you.
Yeah, and Comrades is not about the day you go out and run Comrades, because that's just one day.
Mm.
It is about the 6 months you put in to make sure that you take a proper body to that event.
But it takes us back to that discipline, right? Remember how you were laddering because you're just not ready for the moment. You have to be in the state of mind that says, I will show up for that moment. So which actually is a nice way, I guess, to jump off. So when people ask me about full circle, for example, right? So there's the Zen full circle, which is it's like a brush stroke. The edges are never really closed, but it feels like this is a circle. And what full circle means for me is the ability to use everything I've learned and everything I've come to know to continue to connect and create with people I love and respect, like you, like we're doing in this moment. What does coming full circle mean for you? Because you have had and will continue to have this deliciously complex, flavored, textured life, right? The places you've been, the people you've seen, the things you have done, the lives you have touched and changed. What does coming full circle mean for you, Jabs?
Well, I'm a student again, which is interesting.
Which is good.
Because while I'm still working, I've decided, how do we then redefine the next 20 years? And I decided, okay, let's start by studying in order for us to define the next 20 years. So I know you want to give me another 2 years, but please can you give me an extra one? I just need another 3 years. And then I will complete my studies.
Okay.
And go into a totally different world, which is going to surprise everyone.
Like, you. What?
Is that what do you mean? Because, people have sort of channeled, you know the phone call I get.
Yes.
Happy, can you please help me? We have a marketing problem.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think, why didn't you tell me that you've got a reputation management problem?
Or a business problem.
Or have a business problem. Because if you really check what I've done, the likelihood is that I can solve your business problem, not just that one particular. Why don't you say I have a finance problem, kind of thing? So my full circle is my next, if you know what I mean. Okay. And it's called a total redefinition.
Awesome.
I don't think I'll ever get better at golf. I think this is it.
What's the best score in golf? Of course, you're speaking to somebody who doesn't recognize it as a sport. So
no, maybe it's to play well all the time, and no golfer does. They're as good as your last game. Okay. And the problem is, when you've played well, like yesterday, if you played well the day before, you want to go play tomorrow because I'm so good. And then you go tomorrow, and then it sort of brings you back to Mother Earth and says, oh, no, this is golf. You're only as good as your last game. So my full circle is my next. When I've completed that, I will be fulfilled.
So let me tell you, the world will be waiting, but I will be keeping pace with you because I want to make sure that the stuff gets done. And before I let you go, this guy is a book that I'm going to get for you, because here is an example of a powerful rebrand. So if you remember Matthew McConaughey, he was the rom-coms guy. Like, he's like, how to lose a guy in 10 days, how to find a girlfriend who kisses you in the rain. And he does a 24 months walk away from Hollywood. He turns down every script that has to do with rom-com. He goes into the proverbial Hollywood desert where people forgot him because he wanted them to remember him for something new.
Yeah.
So when he
Well-
came back in 2014 in the Dallas Buyers Club, he then goes on to win the Oscar. So I'm sharing this with you as encouragement to say, making yourself irrelevant in one field to generate relevance in another is a very powerful thing, and you'll get it done, because if there's somebody who will, it's you.
Well, this is what I was busy with before I got onto this call with you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I look forward to it. In a funny way, sort of way, thanks to COVID, I get to study more.
Yes.
And yeah, let's just wait for the clock. Let's not wind it. Let's just wait for it.
Yes.
I'm giving myself 3 years.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable.
That's all you're going to get from me. Don't come asking for more. Like,
no.
We have never happy in our life, in our working life together, ever gone back to a client to extend a deadline. You're not going to break that record now.
No, we don't extend deadlines.
No, we're not those.
I'm working to that deadline. I have got children who know about it. So if I don't meet the deadline, how do I expect them to meet their deadlines?
Don't worry, the viewers of this show will also know about this deadline. So if there's a way to make yourself publicly accountable.
Well, I guess that's what we do, right? Is meet deadlines.
Yeah.
So that's not
don't worry, you are not alone. We're right there with you. But this was so lovely. I could keep you here forever, but I know you've got to go back to section 2.2 of section 3 of section 99.
I was watching the television now, and I saw those people arguing about whether or not the prosecutor is a prosecutor. It's very interesting.
Wow.
It was that 17-year-old court case that still.
Here we are. Well, take care, my friend. It was lovely seeing you, and I'll catch you in the streets once we're vaccinated.
Thank you very much. Oh, I hope I'll get the vaccine one of these days.
Okay, please remember you have a sister.
Well, we have to stand in the queue.
Okay, cheers.
All right, thank you. Ciao.
Cheers.
Love you.